so I really wanted to wait a couple of days before making this video. I know a lot of people ran out and decided to give their hot takes immediately after both GGG and Blizzard showcased what they were working on, but I really wanted to ruminate and think about what actually happened, because when I saw what Blizzard was doing and what they were actually trying to show, I was incredibly confused. And the thing is, I wasn't confused about the new class with D4 and the expansion. I was confused at how Diablo and the Blizzard team are really trying to present anything that comes along with this game. And that's really where I'm sort of like having a hard time understanding what Blizzard is trying to do and what the Diablo team is trying to do. So let me just try to explain what I mean about this. From the time the actual stream started, not the pre-stream, to when they actually showcased the Spiritborn class, the time frame between that was 28 minutes out of a 1 hour live stream. Now I'm saying it's an hour because I cut out the half-hour pre-stream beforehand. So half the live stream was actually dedicated to the artwork of the Spiritborn and what that class is, and really almost this self-filleting, aggrandizing thing about what they've been working on with D4 and this class. I feel like what they did was try and provide and show you the best reason why they made this class rather than just trying to make the Paladin. And that really was the worst way to go about things. If you look at Path of Exile 2, and when they present any class there directly, it is literally in the first minute you understand exactly what is going on and what they're trying to show you, and it is gameplay immediately of that class. And that's the part that's incredibly concerning to me. I feel like a lot of what Blizzard and the Diablo team are doing are more likely just trying to showcase why they're making these decisions, why they're making these classes, why they're doing what they're doing, instead of actually just doing things the player base actually wants. It feels like they're just trying to explain to you why they think they're right, rather than actually doing the thing that the players want in the first place. Because honestly, looking into this class, it's nothing more than a reskinned monk from Diablo 3 with spirit aspects. And that's really disappointing, actually, because the thing is, they could have really done something different and new if they wanted to go in that direction. Or they could have given everybody what they actually wanted, which was a new twist on the Paladin. Maybe even like a Dark Knight or a Death Knight would have been even better than that. But the thing is, they chose not to do that. The fact that the Sword and Board class is missing from the D4 catalog, and the fact that they're basically doing this like Druid Light with Monk kind of a thing with a Witch Doctor mixed in, really doesn't showcase well at all. And when we talk about showcasing, that's another issue that I'm seeing with this as well. You see, the problem is they started talking about like your basic generators, then your spenders, then your ultimates, and they really didn't go into anything else more deeper than that. They talked about it with, each type of spirit that you have, whether it's the hawk or the gorilla or the centipede and even the jaguar, which all seem incredibly cool, but there was nothing being shown that says, hey, here's a cool way that you can build upon these specific things. Here are skills that you can build upon each specific way. Here's ways that you can combine these sort of spirits and then create these new and exciting types of classes. Now, yes, they did touch on that just a little bit near the end of the stream, and they showcased a really great photo of how you could possibly do that, but they didn't show anything in game or in practice. And that's what really upsets me about this sort of presentation. It was an entire hour of all the developers basically just talking about themselves and what they've done and how they're going to do things, rather than just showcasing the actual character and the gameplay itself. And honestly, the way they showcased it with those very basic skills and just talking about things in a very linear fashion basically showed that it's not going to be an exciting class to play or even fun. To be honest, the best person who showcased that class was Raxentrax when he talked about, look at what this class can do. Look at the centipede. Look at this damage. He had a better presentation and a better showcasing of what that class can actually do in a real live setting, rather than what the developers were talking about during the actual presentation. Everything from this showcase of Diablo 4 was more about the devs, was more about Blizzard, and was more about what they think is right, rather than just showcasing how the class is actually worth playing or getting people excited about it in the first place. The design of the set, miking up people, having conversations, trying to do this fireside chat kind of a deal, as if we're investors or employees of Blizzard, rather than just showcasing the actual gameplay of the new class. Everything from these weird panning camera angles to just this giant set behind them, changing all the spirit icons every time they talked about something. Nothing felt organic. Nothing felt like they cared. Nothing felt like it was going to be something that people wanted to get excited about. And when you compare that to Path of Exile, it's a vastly different scope. And you can see the vast chasm of difference between GGG and Blizzard and how they are operating their games. Just look at the new league for Path of Exile 1 coming out this week. Everything was showcased quickly, efficiently, and easily to understand and digest, and it left you asking more questions and wanting to go into that league itself. They even showcased a new Ascendancy class, in fact, by removing an old one and bringing in a brand new one. People were thinking, okay, this is cool, I have to see this, because it meant an entire rebalancing of major systems in the melee side that were needed in Path of Exile 1. And for a game that is so incredibly complex like Path of Exile, to easily provide information to its players is so ridiculous when you think about it, because in Diablo 4 it's a much more casual, friendly game, but the information there is presented to you in a very convoluted, confusing, full of ums and uhs kind of a way from the actual developers. So it makes it seem like they don't know what they're doing, when in reality they probably have a pretty good class that's lined up for them. They had a great thing going with Season 4 when they fixed all the loot, where they fixed all the itemization. Now their big issue is trying to add more and new creative ways of actually wanting people to keep playing this game. I made a video that was a pretty hot take that said Diablo 4 has a serious problem, and we talked about the end game there. And a lot of people didn't like that video, and they didn't want to hear the harsh truth. I know Diablo 4 is a much more casual game than PoE. I'm not trying to make D4 into PoE. What I would like, though, is to have D4 have a little bit of complexity. It doesn't have to be Path of Exile for me to be happy. What it needs, though, is a good way of actually enticing new players into the ARPG genre and saying, hey, we can then provide you this way of playing without feeling overwhelmed or anything like that, but still give them the ability to have some depth and character into this game. What PoE 2 does is they show you one skill, then they show you another skill and how those two skills can interchange or interact with each other. Then they start adding and compiling on top of that. So instead of you saying, oh, that's all that it does, what you're looking at is, these are some really wild things of what I can think of already on how I would like this skill to work or how I would like it to perform. And that's the part that is missing from Diablo 4. There's no real theory crafting besides the Paragon board, which is really just pick resistances, pick HP, and go for like a main node. It's all just this oversimplified, dumbed down, no ability of actual thought process whatsoever. Green arrow good, red arrow bad, and then move from there, which unfortunately, if you're going to have that kind of mechanic in the game and you're not going to have that complexity, then the gameplay itself has to be fun and the loop has to be good. And we didn't get a good gameplay loop until Season 4. And that's the more disheartening thing about this. D4 could be a great game. It could be a great catalyst and a good entry point for people to get into the ARPG genre and then move into things like Last Epoch to be a little bit more complex. And then after Last Epoch, they could move into Path of Exile or whatever else comes out in between, because there's so many different kinds of ways to satiate players in the ARPG genre that really aren't being taken care of. And the fact that the new PoE League was announced just a little bit after the new character class being revealed for D4, people were saying D4 bad again. Because the thing is, Path of Exile doesn't just do one little thing. They completely change the game consistently, almost every 6 months. And the thing is, that's what people are looking for. They want D4 to feel fresh and new and different. And that's kind of what we were promised. Basically, like, bring D2 back into the new era with a new twist. But we didn't get that. We got Diablo 3 with a fresh coat of paint. Some people like that. That's great. But I think in the terms of longevity for what this game needs and how it can really provide a player base that wants new things, that wants a deeper mechanic, it's not going to do that. It's really going to be something that people play for about a week or two and then drop off, while Last Epoch and PoE have better cycles and seasons. Now, I know I've trashed D4 a lot in this video. That really isn't my intention. What I want is for Diablo 4 to be a better game than it is right now. What I want is for D4 to have just a little bit of depth that could really bring players into a genre they didn't actually think about before. And to have that small semblance of, here's how we're going to present our information to you the right way so you can get excited about these classes, expansions, and seasons. And not have just developers sitting in a chair explaining things in the most boring, monotone way. It feels like this is more of a job than passion, and you can see the passion in Path of Exile, and you can see the job in Diablo. And it's a damn shame. But you know what? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Hopefully I don't make everybody mad about this video, because apparently this is where a lot of my hot takes live, so I definitely want to see what you guys have to say. Now, if you like this kind of content, you want to see more, subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000 subs, and I really do appreciate it. There are more how-to guides coming up, as well as for crafting and endgame mechanics for Last Epoch, and more Path of Exile leagues as well, and more news about the ARPG genre. So if you want to see that, like I said before, go ahead and subscribe. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you next time.